Daniel and Jace, I did not forget you. I have worked my tail off today, which I don't normally do on Sundays, but this is just too amazing of an opportunity. I'm going to speed through this as fast as I can. On that note, there is a lot to talk about, but we need to look at the state of your core marketing as related to the 90-day plan that Daniel requested. So with that said, this is the 90-day plan and it is solid. I have a tendency to see things and not articulate them because I see a lot of things. But your existing online marketing strategy, we need to look at the painful gap in the marketing, okay? So the reality is y'all built in the same marketing funnel that everybody else has, and 96% of businesses are failing with this marketing funnel. Don't get me wrong, I know you know more than this, but it's really important to recognize that there's a whole lot more to this equation. And we all have certain portions of the equation mastered, and some of us are unaware of some of the pieces of the equation. So I know I'm always trying to learn from anybody out there helping me bridge those gaps. So Podbooker lacks clarity. The copy is mediocre hype that only attracts desperate leads, and the wise and the confused mind says no. Y'all don't make a lot of mistakes with that, but there are definitely some mistakes in there. And the more frictionless the process, the more people will upgrade. Podbooker also lacks direction. Pages lead to dead ends, the prospect gets lost, and great leads end up moving on. That's the problem. Only the worst of the leads will convert in a mediocre funnel. Podbooker's business model struggles. It's expansive. It's convoluted. It's not converting. It's missing an MVP focus, right? So we got the monthly listed here, which is confusing in of itself. The annual, I'm not too worried about that, all right? It's not wrong, but there is no clarity, there's no execution, and there's no support. We got to add some aspects to make that more clear so it's easy for people to move forward. And this is the reality that most entrepreneurs face. Some of them don't have nearly this cool of a business. You both know that. You guys happen to have a really cool business. Now, the interesting thing is you don't have the prosperity and the revenue as associated with this brand. I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about Podbooker as a brand and as an entity. The ironic thing is you guys do have a really good bridge. The reality, though, is people are crossing your bridge in droves and they're getting to a ghost town. There are no fireworks. There's nobody flying a plane. There's nobody to greet them. They're just roaming around in this town and they're like, man, this is kind of cool, but I don't really know what to do. I don't really know how to pay. So I'm just going to enjoy it, but I'm not going to do anything with it. And it's benefiting them to an extent, but in all reality, most people don't know what to do with it. So they're probably just coming in and out wondering, hey, is anybody ever going to show up and operate this thing? Obviously, that's what we're looking to accomplish. I shouldn't say obvious, but that's what consumers want, guys. So Podbooker lacks systems. It's not that the team members aren't unified. There's no team members to unify besides the two of you, and you're somewhat unified in what you said, but that leads to poor performance or no performance or frustration, or in your case, you're probably not frustrated, like you said, you just kind of leave it there, and that means there's a lack of effort, right? So there's been lots of people who've kind of come in and out of the equation. There's no accountability, there's no clear roles, there's no org board, there's no procedures that are documented, there's no scripts, and there's an inadequate CRM. So with all of those realities, it makes it very hard to move a system and move a business forward. Let's talk about a first-class online marketing strategy. This is your roadmap to create powerful profitability, guys. I know you don't like the coaching. I know there's trauma associated with that. Try to disassociate the trauma with the virtue of the reality that if we become Allen Iverson, who said, practice, I don't need to practice, his Hall of Fame reputation is now mocked by almost every living human being who knows a thing about basketball. Vision, culture, leadership, marketing, all of that, fulfillment, operations, sales, and support. It's not just principles. They're principles that have to be put into action. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. The power funnel. Okay, this is my invention. This is going to be probably my first book. If I can get the time to finish it, I will, though. The marketing funnel is wrong. The power funnel includes the actions that no one is teaching the brands to take. If you want people who are aware to be interested, you've got to intrigue them. If you want people to be interested, to be considering your offer, you've got to attract them. You've got the intrigue, attract, and invite down. But the offer is not being made well, and the support is non-existent. And if we don't bridge that tiny gap, we're not going to win. The Power Ads Blueprint This is also from Video Power Marketing, by the way. Love the way they're presenting. You guys have phenomenal impact on these 4 quadrants. You're missing these 2 though. So when people are converting, there's no thank you page and there's no honor in the offer because of it. And there's no nurturing that takes place. If there was honor and a thank you page and there was nurturing that was taking place along the way, well, that's what's going to lead to the lifetime value increase. That's what's going to lead to the average order value. I'm really, really excited, guys. I just want you to know that. I'm really excited because we're so close to bridging these gaps. And I know it says ads. That's because everybody wants to know about ads. It's in the high ticket space. It's really Power Invitations blueprint. That's what this is about. It's about the stimulus and the invitation, having the intrigue. Y'all are great at intrigue. Y'all are great at attracting. Y'all are great at remarketing. You're great at re-inviting. You know these principles, but what's missing on PodBooker is the end of the puzzle. You just don't have it. Okay. So revenue growth simplified. Check this out. You know this homepage, business card meeting. You drive people to a landing page or directly to a meeting. They go deep diver. They get to the payment page. And if the payment page scares them, and yes, the PodBooker payment page is kind of scary and there's nothing really that attractive. So what happens? We either want more information or we move on, especially with an entity where we can't just contact somebody and say, hey, is this really that valuable? No, it's not moving people towards, yes, I want that in a purchase. And you know it and I know it. That's what we need to fix is this part right here. Let's not worry too much about the rest. But again, you got that broken bridge. Most entrepreneurs don't have anywhere near the full bridge. And again, we want to build a first-class dynasty. Daniel, you've talked about $10 million like it's something worthwhile. It's not. You've got a multi-billion-dollar system on your hands. I'm going to prove it to you very fast in a minute. And you're going to go, oh my gosh, like we really do. Pillars, it's not just pillars. This is a staircase of interconnected departments. Okay, and this is what most businesses are getting wrong. Not the Teslas of the world. The Tesla did this right. Elon Musk got on stage and sold a car people wouldn't get for 2 to 3 years, and 180,000 people bought it that had like smart heads and credit that's good and all that. Like, what the heck? How did he do that? Because he had a clear vision, a phenomenal culture built out, amazing leadership, marketing that did the job for them, which is all, you got a lot of these parts done, guys. And fulfillment, fulfillment was good on my end as a consumer. I thought it was great. The operations, the sales, and the support is kind of missing. Again, it kind of goes back to the vision of what the heck are we building and how valuable is it? Team building. This is how we team build at First Class Business. Patience, persistence, consistency, and reliability. I have systems in place to check those things before I ever talk to a team member. They got to make it through the process with their own patience, persistence, consistency, and reliability. I don't rush people's relationships. I would never offer somebody equity that I didn't know and didn't have actual systems to vet that individual. At the same time, that's what happens in the market over and over. And it's just no wonder why businesses don't hit mass scale the way they can. And it's awesome because we can fix it. And that's why we also build on a foundation of love. It's not condescension, guys. It's saying, hey, come on, hear me out here. Understand that if we build what we build around love, and we build it with people who are patient enough with new individuals, persistent enough with those who we need to move forward, consistent, right? Showing up time and time again to show that they're also reliable in nature. Dude, guys, if we build a system on the front end that attracts people like that, which I've built, by the way, we have an amazing team that consistently builds together. And we're going to talk about that just a tiny bit more. Power teams know the importance of goals and accountability and healthy reprimands, as well as praise. It's a virtuous cycle of growth built around the 1 Minute Manager. Fantastic book by Ken Blanchard. You've probably read it. I know you've probably heard of it. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. You know, everybody says they have a team or they are a team. Well, there's the wrong team versus the right team. We want the right team and we want to build it based on high performance principles. I am super big into it. That's why I got these posters in my office. Okay. Our team is your team. That's how I build. We are masters of fear. I love Ralph Waldo Emerson. My son's name is Emerson because of him. Fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. But my addition to that quote, but love conquers all. Work with a team you love. That's what we're all about. All right. So we get this bridge built, prosperity, revenue is key. You guys aren't missing the basic components of what we call the power bridge and what I build out for my clients. You have almost all of these things in place or access to them. You've probably tried most of them, but you're missing the most important overarching principle, which made me realize, whoa, we need to change the power bridge, because what it's missing, the power bridge, is the principles of wealth and monetization. Now, I'm not saying you're not wealthy and you're not monetizing, but you're not Jeff Bezos and nor am I. You're not Bill Gates and nor am I. So is it fair to say we all have more to learn about wealth and monetization? I'm going to bridge some of your gaps, and I hope you guys bridge some of my gaps as we go. This is a collaborative experience. It can be, but I know I got to get y'all's energy back up to make that happen. So we're going to create your first-class business strategy. This is an opportunity to land us as your power team. And the 90-day plan, Daniel, begins right now. One, we got to begin with that end in mind. You got to see this is not a $10 million venture. You're about to give it away. The big three: fix the offer, build sustainable revenues, drive calculated momentum. This is so important, my friends. One, beginning with that okay, again, I'm sorry, but 10 million is lame. I hope you can let it go. If not, you're probably going to let me go, and I get that. But if you let it go, you can thank me later, because you need to know your value and you need to build it right. You almost gave away a cave of diamonds by not evaluating your real market. So let's look at what that means. iHeartRadio, the value of it. Hang in there with me, guys. Try to understand what I'm talking about. iHeartRadio has a value of almost $1 billion. Well, we're in essence a Pandora or a iHeartRadio, so to speak. People can go to Podbooker, look up podcasts, and start listening to those channels. Okay, so don't forget to look at how the diversification that could come in with Podbooker over time, depending on how we scale instant revenues, could go this route. This is just one example. Now, the most popular NFL agencies. Okay, I dropped links in here too for this, by the way. Google search, you can just Google search it and find it. But CAA is the top NFL agency, right? Our business, Podbooker, is all about streamlining the agency process at an entirely different level. Okay, well, let's look at CAA. CAA now manages over $14 billion playing contracts, as well as 3.8 billion non-playing contracts. That's a lot of money, and its maximum commissions on those contracts are up 61%. In other words, the value is on the rise. These types of services and access to these services is stretching out over the world and reaching markets that it didn't before. The same is true of podcast booking agencies and agencies of any kind. All right, so let's look at the most valuable PR agencies. Again, these are the red oceans. You're not in a red ocean, you're in a blue ocean. But the red ocean is still quite beautiful, which is why if you're scaling a small business, yeah, you could compete with the Edelmans and the Weber Shandwicks of the world, but you didn't. You guys have a totally different market, but that's what's cool. I think your market long-term has much more potential than a traditional PR agency. Edelman, all right, $7.3 billion valuation. Okay, not 10 million, not 100 million. Let's go back to this. Weber Shandwick valuation. Annual current revenue, 1.8 billion. Okay, or it's debatable. It says right there it's 831 million. Okay, not 10 million as an exit. Okay, where did I learn to look at stuff like this? Restaurant Connect. We were putting together software for restaurants as a bootstrap service, and by the way, COVID crushed our spine. Podbooker's not going anywhere, and you don't have the same issues that we had. As restaurants were forced to close on the East Coast, we literally lost $20,000 in monthly recurring revenue overnight, mandated by the government. All the restaurants started to call and cancel all their services because they all got hosed bad. 1 week later, we lost another $15,000 in recurring monthly revenues. It freaking sucked, okay? You don't have to deal with that. There may be other acts of God that occur that could stop or halter Podbooker in its tracks. But even still, it's important to know what happened with Restaurant Connect prior to that happening. SeatMe came out as a competitor, and they sold to Yelp. And we were sitting there scratching our heads going, what the heck were they thinking? They sold to Yelp for $12.7 million across 3 different partners. Okay, that means they're back to work in a couple of years. That means they basically gave their company away. Okay, between multiple partners, that's pennies. What's the truth? They were desperate to exit, They're probably in over their heads too a little bit, or maybe they had shiny ball syndrome and wanted to hit something else. That's fine, but look at what they messed up on. Open Table sold to Priceline the very next year for $2.6 billion. Like, just drives my mind wild to think, why would somebody do this? And at the same time, this also highlights the reality about Yelp, by the way. Yelp is aggressive with their sales tactics. They're super good at sales. They host those guys. They could have probably sold that for $40 million and gotten out just fine without ruining the deal. But most people don't know how to sell. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to look at the details and see the bigger picture of what's going on. So how much larger is the podcast agency market? It's expanding and growing on a daily basis. Do you not see how much more valuable your system is long term compared to the restaurant industry and a restaurant software? I hope you do, because I do. That's why Google is getting into the podcast game. That's why Apple has podcast stuff integrated. That's why Spotify is getting into it. Like, you guys are so far ahead on a blue ocean market. My goal is to inspire you. I hope I'm not offending you. My goal is to inspire you to see the real value of your own vision that you're not seeing. All right, so 2, the big 3: inspire, intrigue, and attract. Guys, stop trying to put the cart before the horse. So you've already nailed that, but that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to do it anymore. Your cart's already before the horse. You won't win unless you fix the offer and how it's experienced by the prospect. So let's talk about fixing that offer. We got to fix the broken portions of the offer. We've got to provide, we don't have to. I do recommend, though, that we provide a VIP promo code if it's easy enough to implement. If it's not, we can sacrifice that for now, okay? But the goal is we want to be able to state our clear value for upgrading. Again, clear. It's not clear right now. It's kind of clear. It's close to clear. We need to be crystal clear. If we don't, again, I can still work with that. We need instant live chat support. Okay, my team needs to be able to get the user feedback from instant live chat support. I'd also like to put a phone number on there so we can start getting real people feedback as well and hear what is it that people need to understand in order to get them to upgrade or get them to learn. It would be such an amazing filter and funnel for for the low ticket as well as the mid ticket or high ticket, so we could easily tie right into this. That would not be hard, and it would drive the revenues necessary to invest in properly building out the front end and back end of Podbooker. I'm so excited because this is so stinking easy to do, guys. Get user feedback, give scheduled support calls. I got a whole team who can take support calls. It's not that hard to listen to people and hear them say things about Podbooker. Maybe they ask a question I don't know. Experts don't know all the answers. I learned this from Matt Cutts of Google. He was our main, he's part of Y Combinator, and Y Combinator trained us on SEO. And he said, guys, experts don't know everything. Experts do the opposite. They admit they don't know everything. Experts tell you, hey, look, I don't have that answer, but I'm going to get it for you, okay? And they go and get the answer professionally and they bring it back because they're consistent, reliable, patient, and persistent. Sorry to coach. We need this. We need a team who can take these support calls and inspire people to start moving forward with the transaction. You guys don't have to worry about the costs on that. I'm going to do it. My team's going to do it, and we're going to build it. You need a true CRM baked into this. We're going to build it with Go High Level. Please don't complicate that. Please just let us build. We can build something fancy later. Let us bridge some gaps for you. Add the onboarding email sequence, for heaven's sake. When I upgraded to $30, I didn't even get an email, let alone a receipt, and I didn't get any new interface interaction of, hey, congrats, or thank you. Nothing was there, okay? I would like to make sure that something is there, at least an email sequence when somebody upgrades, and that's not hard for us to do. We're already working on it, by the way, so I really hope that we move forward because it would be really fun to build all this stuff. 4, build sustainably. This is my key. My tagline for First Class Business is sustainable revenue growth. Automatically creating low resistance upsells is a big portion of this. We'll talk about that later. We then spoon feed the momentum. This is key. I learned this at Restaurant Connect. If we go in and we build, guys, don't get crazy with this. Don't get overexcited. Adam at Restaurant Connect did all the time. It drove me freaking nuts. When you build too fast and you build too many new things, users get excited and they assume you're going to maintain that momentum. Don't do it. Build tiny things one step at a time, one week at a time, whatever our track path for being able to build cool things into it. We have to leverage the art of psychology. You just because you want to marry a girl on the first date doesn't mean you can take her to the chapel and get married. That's inappropriate. It's not cool. People don't like that. And then again, people have crazy, unfair expectations on you because people are not built based on healthy relationship concepts. People have horrible, toxic relationship concepts that they learn from years and centuries of inheriting awful practices from our ancestors in relation to not everybody, but the world at large inherits a lot of really poor communication skills. The world at large. All right. So what do? We spoon feed them. We build a track path of constant upgrades that are small that have people say, whoa, look, there's instant chat now. Oh, hey, look, there's phone support. Oh, hey, we're getting nice, valuable emails. Okay. I'm a really big fan of what Fitbit did. Okay. Fitbit does not have a newsletter that is automated. You go to Fitbit.com, you go and sign up for their newsletter. You're not going to get an email. It's going to say, great, we'll email you when we have something of value. What a refreshing concept. Holy crap, I'm not going to get spammed to death by a bunch of really crappy emails that are constantly trying to say, hey, we're valuable, hey, we're valuable, hey, we're valuable. No, that's not what the big brands do. That's not what the dominating brands do. They don't need to pretend they're valuable. They don't need an inferiority complex. They provide value when they have value. You know what that also does? It relieves the pressure on us as a brand. I'm talking about us as Podbooker, assuming you guys have me in this thing. Okay? We don't have to build an email sequence. We can build an email that is valuable and we can optimize it and let people know more is coming later. And the act of random engagement of truths, random value, randomizing the value, and when the value hits, there's a massive study that almost, I don't know, a lot of people in the world I know about it with the rats. And how if the rats push the button for the pellet, and they always got a pellet, they stop doing it. But if the rats push the button, the lever, slot machines think, and it only sometimes delivered a pellet, they stayed there unhealthily doing it all the time. Okay, now I'm not trying to say that we should leverage methods of addiction in order to manipulate people into always pushing our lever. Please don't, guys. That's not the point. We're trying to leverage it to inspire people to do what's healthy. That's the point. It happens to be the same virtue or resource that gets leveraged, but please don't use it for evil. The fireworks show effect. Okay. Again, I know you guys want the boom. Like you want to see a big blow up at the beginning. That's not healthy. That's not good growth. A fireworks show is not built that way. Think about a fireworks show that you've been to, right? They have one firework or two go off and everybody's like, oh man, I better run from the hot dog stand to go sit down. People start to come, but it's not all and done. It's a process. There's an experience. The snowball effect as well is like this. We want to build with the snowball effect, right? We're building it, and slowly it's getting a little bit bigger, and then it's rolling downhill, but we're going to roll it down a hill. We're not going to kill somebody. We're going to roll it down a hill where it's going to be an effective, fun experience, and we get to watch how big that sucker gets. Okay? The train effect is the same way. You guys have built a phenomenal train, and now people sit on it. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? Are we going to go today? Are we going to go? We got to get the train in motion, right? We got to start making it happen. But this is not, I don't want to build a rocket ship. It's the addictive approach. Addiction is not a good thing. It's a vice, okay? Rocket ships can be built and they can be built right. Elon Musk has proved that. You can return them to the earth too now. Like it's pretty cool what he's been able to create. But in reality, to make that happen, you need to practice the art of the slingshot effect. That's why I'm not coming in saying, okay, yeah, guys, I can build and promote. No, I got to learn enough. We're going to go a little bit backwards. We got to go backwards and backwards. And if we build that, this is the right way, and we do that slingshot thing, you know what happens? I can sling that rock way, way further than I could have just started throwing rocks. Like a child, I don't do that. First Class Business knows why you should build sustainable revenue growth for your brand. It's so important, guys. You guys already have the attraction, the intrigue, all the good stuff on the front end built. I mean, I love this. It's such an easy interface to navigate. I don't want you to have to build more. I just want you to know that we can build the things that you guys forgot to build as part of this process. This is good too. This is all right. It gets the job done. I was so excited the first day I used Podbooker. I expected nothing because no systems online provide an instant success. It just doesn't happen anymore. It's been years since anything like that has happened. I built my Podbooker profile, and the very next day, and I pitched 2 hosts. That was it. The very next day, I had 3 requests for interviews. I was like, what the heck? I've never seen this happen before. Like, how did this distribute me that fast? It doesn't exist in the online world anymore. You guys have built something amazing, and I want to drive calculated momentum with it. I really, really would love to obviously move this brand forward. I've put a lot of time and energy and effort in my weekend into making this happen, guys. I hope that you honor that by honoring us, bringing us in, asking whatever the heck questions you need to, not passive questions, guys. Like, is this really true? Or like, are you guys, actually going to build so like, come on, get the real questions forward. Like, let's get on a meeting if we have to, if we really have to still, let's get on a meeting, but like, let's make the rubber hit the road this time. Let's actually do this and move forward because what you have is so valuable. And again, I've already told a lot of people, a lot of very important people to me that, hey, guess what? I got an offer letter back as the CEO of Podbooker. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's a bit embarrassing that's not actually true. That's a bit weird, but it's all right. Nobody's perfect. Okay. We all make mistakes. We all get excited sometimes. And then we all realize, whoa. We got to like fix things, figure out what we need to fix. That's what I'm asking. Like, let's figure out what we need to fix so I can execute on this plan. And thank you, because I know initially you did not want me to take your time. So I did not. But now you've asked me for your time to take your time. So I am. So I really hope you honor this video. You watch it from beginning to end, and you respect the fact that I know a lot about building companies that are in your position. And I would love to make sure that Podbooker becomes the market leader again, the way that it should be. Thank you both.